The mop didn't just fall. It slammed. Water exploded across the polished lobby floor of Crestline Bank like someone had pulled the pin on a lemon-scented grenade. A few customers gasped. One woman clutched her purse closer like water carried diseases. A man cursed as droplets splattered across his designer loafers. And near the entrance, a young woman stopped dead in her tracks. Her eyes, big, warm, curious, locked onto him. Daniel Carter, fake name Dan, real net worth $4.8 billion, stood frozen in the middle of his own bank, holding a mop he didn't know how to use. Perfect. Exactly what he wanted. "Why, you okay there?" the woman asked, stepping around the puddle with the elegance of someone used to dodging life's nonsense. She bent down, picking up the fallen mop handle before he could get to it. The fluorescent lobby light caught the gold flecks in her eyes. Her ID badge swung forward as she leaned in. Maya Ellis, teller trainee, temporary. New hire. No idea who she was really talking to. Good. Sorry, Daniel muttered, forcing his voice to sound rougher, less educated. Guess I'm still learnin' the ropes. She smiled, small but warm. And it hit him harder than any business deal had in years. That's okay. First week, she asked. Yeah, he lied. Welcome to Crestline, she said, handing him the mop. Just try not to drown the customers. A tiny laugh escaped her. And then she was gone, pushing through the staff-only door. Daniel stared after her longer than he meant to, before Ray, the overzealous security guard, snapped him back to reality. Hey! Custodian! Ray pointed at a trail of dirty footprints near the ATM. Need this cleaned ASAP before Thompson loses his mind. Daniel hid a smile. If only Ray knew who he was talking to. But he didn't. And that was the whole point. By noon, Daniel had learned two things. Cap 1 Los Angeles customers treated janitors like background noise. Cap 2 Maya was the exception. While he wiped fingerprint smudges from the glass doors, he watched her work. Anyone else would have seen just another pretty teller behind bulletproof glass. Daniel saw more. She explained every form patiently. She guided confused elderly customers with kindness. She even defended a Spanish-speaking mother when a supervisor complained she wasn't answering fast enough. She was sunshine trying to survive in a city built on shadows. And Daniel, pretending to be nobody, felt something he hadn't felt in years. Hope. It happened in the late afternoon. The moment that changed everything. Daniel was wiping down the counters when the man entered, loud, polished, dripping expensive arrogance. His name was Elliot Reeves. Downtown real estate developer. LA Eco in human form. I need this check cashed now, he barked at customer service. Sir, there's a mandatory hold? I don't care, he snapped. Do you know who I am? The customers stiffened. The employees froze. Daniel watched. Then Reeves pointed at him. You. Janitor. Come here. Daniel approached slowly. Wipe this counter, Reeves demanded, slapping his palm on Maya's workspace. Maybe if the help actually helps, your teller will remember her place. The lobby went silent. Maya stepped forward. No, she said. Reeves turned, incredulous. What? You don't talk to him like that, Maya said. You don't talk to anyone like that. He's doing his job. You're defending a janitor? Reeves asked, voice dripping with disbelief. I'm defending a human being, she shot back. Daniel felt something shift in his chest. People like Reeves only saw money. People like Maya saw people. Reeves gave her a slow, chilling smile. What's your name? Maya Ellis. Good. I'll make sure that name goes on my complaint. He stormed toward the door, muttering, this bank is a joke. When the glass doors sealed behind him, Maya exhaled like she'd been holding her breath for hours. Sorry, she said quietly to Daniel. I didn't mean to drag you into that. I just hate when people are treated like trash. Daniel swallowed. Thank you. Before she could say more, the harsh voice of Mr. Thompson, the branch manager, shattered the calm. What's going on here? Employees scattered like pigeons. In minutes, Maya went from hero to target. Thompson scolded her in front of everyone. Told her she'd disrespected a high-value client. Told her teller trainees should know their place. Told her he'd be filing a formal warning. She said nothing. But Daniel saw the way her shoulders tightened. He saw the way her eyes flickered, fear mixed with quiet humiliation. When she was finally released, she gathered her bag and turned to leave for the day. Daniel stepped toward her. You didn't deserve that, he said softly. She forced a smile. Right isn't always rewarded. But, thank you for saying that. Good night, Dan, she whispered. Good night. He watched her walk out into the fading LA sunlight, her small frame swallowed by a city that didn't care how much she was carrying. But he cared. More than he should. That night, long after the staff left and the lights dimmed, Daniel sat alone in the lobby, staring at the employee database on his tablet. Maya Ellis, probationary. Primary caretaker for sick parent. Supporting younger brother. High empathy. Needs professional boundaries. Translation. She helps too much. She cares too much. She treats people like humans. Exactly the kind of woman he wanted. Exactly the kind his money always scared away. His phone buzzed. Jordan, CFO. How's Operation Undercover Janitor going, Mr. Carter? Find your true love yet? Daniel typed back. Maybe. A pause. Jordan. Oh boy. Here we go. Daniel leaned back, staring out at the neon lights of Los Angeles. He had no idea how deep he was about to fall. But he knew one thing for sure. Maya Ellis changed something in him today. And soon. He would change her life too. In ways neither of them were prepared for. Maya's apartment sat on the far edge of South Los Angeles, in a neighborhood the city loved to forget. The paint on the old brick building peeled in long strips. A flickering hallway light buzzed overhead as she climbed the creaking staircase to her second-floor unit. She pushed the door open quietly. Inside, a small TV cast a faint blue glow over the one-bedroom apartment. Her younger brother, Jordan, 14, sat curled on the couch, textbooks open but clearly abandoned. You're home late, he said, lowering the volume. Yeah, Maya said, dropping her bag with a sigh. It was the day. He studied her face. Another customer? She didn't answer. Instead, she walked past him into the dim kitchen where a woman lay asleep in a recliner, a thin blanket over her legs. A medication bottle sat on the small table beside her. Maya reached out and gently adjusted the pillow behind her mother's head. How was she? Maya whispered. Jordan shrugged. Same. She had physical therapy earlier. They said she's improving slowly. That's good. Maya touched her mother's cheek lightly, then leaned back with a tired exhale. I'm sorry I wasn't here. Don't be sorry, Jordan said quietly. You're the only one keeping everything together. Maya didn't answer, but her throat tightened. The apartment was too small. Her paycheck was too small. Her hours were too long. Her future felt too fragile. The warning letter, she hadn't told Jordan about it yet. Not tonight. He already carried enough. Maya? She looked up. Jordan was watching her with that sharp, worried gaze he'd inherited from their mother. Are you okay? Yeah, she lied. Just tired. He didn't believe her. But he didn't push. He never did. Later that night, after Jordan had gone to bed and her mother's breathing steadied into sleep, Maya sat alone at the small kitchen table with her head in her hands. She replayed the moment with Reeves over and over, the arrogance, the insult, the way she'd stepped forward without thinking. And then Thompson's voice. "This is going in your file. Not a great start. Know your place." She pressed her palms into her eyes. She needed this job. She needed the health insurance. She needed the stable hours. She needed the chance for promotion so she could move them out of this apartment before her mother's condition worsened. But what was she supposed to do? Stand there while someone disrespected another human being? No. Her mother hadn't raised her to cower. Meanwhile, across the city, in a penthouse overlooking downtown Los Angeles, Daniel Carter stood in front of his floor-to-ceiling windows. The coveralls were gone. The mop bucket forgotten. He was back in a simple black t-shirt and gray sweats, but even then, he looked like a magazine spread come to life. The city glittered beneath him, endless lights, endless ambition, endless noise. But his mind kept drifting back to her. To Maya. The fire in her eyes. The way she stepped between him and danger without hesitation. The tremble in her hands she tried to hide. The soft, tired smile she forced at the end of the day. He didn't know her. Not really. But what he had seen. What she had shown. It was real. People didn't usually show him real. He walked to his desk and tapped the tablet, pulling her profile back up. Maya Renee Ellis. Probationary, warning pending. Primary caretaker for family. His jaw clenched. Thompson was a decent manager in terms of numbers, but he was a disaster when it came to empathy and leadership. Daniel had tolerated him because the branch launch required stability. But filing a warning against Maya? For defending a janitor from verbal harassment? Daniel rubbed the back of his neck, annoyed. He had promised himself he wouldn't interfere. But maybe there was a loophole. He clicked into the HR backend. Action options. Approve warning. Reject warning. Remove from employee history. Flag for mentorship. Flag for performance review. Recommend for accelerated training. Daniel stared at the screen. If he rejected the warning right now, HR would send Thompson a denial notice. And Thompson, being Thompson, would raise questions. Questions that could lead back to Daniel. Questions that could expose the entire undercover project. But Daniel's eyes drifted to another option. Remove from employee history, silent. No HR email. No trace. No alert to the manager. The warning simply vanished like it never existed. Daniel tapped it. Are you sure? Yes/no. He selected yes. A tiny green check mark appeared. And Maya Ellis' record was clean again. He leaned back in his chair, exhaling. That's all I can do for now, he murmured. But even as he said it, he knew it wasn't true. He wanted to do more. The next morning, Crestline Bank buzzed with the familiar rhythm of LA office workers, influencers, small business owners, overdraft victims, and people just trying to survive the week. Daniel arrived early in his janitor uniform, pushing the cart through the staff entrance. Ray saluted him with his coffee. Carla ignored him entirely. The assistant manager shot him the usual cold stare. Everything was normal. Except Maya wasn't there. Her station was empty. Her chair tucked in. No purse. No jacket. No smile. Daniel felt a strange, unwelcome tightness in his chest. Then, 15 minutes later, the staff door opened. Maya walked in. She looked the same, neat blouse, simple skirt, hair pulled back, but her eyes were different. Darker. Heavier. He didn't approach her. He couldn't. Janitors didn't greet tellers. But Maya approached him. Morning, Dan, she said softly. He turned, pretending surprise. Morning. She paused. Hey, thank you, yesterday. For what? For being someone who didn't look at me like I was crazy. You did the right thing, he said again. Maybe. She half shrugged. But right doesn't always matter. He wanted to tell her. He wanted to say, I fixed it. The warning is gone. He wanted to wipe away the stress on her face. But he couldn't. Instead he said, You okay? She hesitated, then nodded. Yes, actually, I think things might be okay. He raised a brow. How? Well, I checked my employee portal this morning. The warning letter Thompson filed? She exhaled, relieved and confused. It's gone. Daniel fought back a smile. Gone, he said, feigning surprise. Yeah. Completely wiped. She shook her head. No notice, no explanation. Just deleted. Maybe someone realized it wasn't fair. Maya laughed softly. Corporate and fair don't go in the same sentence. She picked up a stack of forms and headed toward her station. Daniel watched her go. And for the first time in a long time, he felt proud of something he'd done that didn't involve money. Late that afternoon, the incident that pushed them closer happened. A customer in his early 20s stood at Maya's window, looking frustrated. Sweaty palms. Tapping foot. Anxiety oozing from his posture. I'm sorry, Maya said gently, but you need a valid ID to withdraw above $2,000. The system won't let me process it without. I lost it, he snapped. I told you that. I know, but... You think I'm lying? His voice rose. You think just because I'm wearing a hoodie I'm some criminal trying to scam you? A few customers shifted in their seats. Carla looked up sharply. Ray hovered near security. Maya held up a calming hand. Sir, I'm not accusing you. I'm just explaining the policy. That's what the last teller said, the man yelled. Does anybody here actually? Daniel saw it, the way the man slammed his fist against the glass divider. Maya flinched. That was all it took. He dropped the mop and moved fast. Hey, Daniel said, stepping between the man and the counter. Take it easy. The man blinked at him. What? I'm talking to her. And you're scaring her, Daniel said calmly. You want help? Cool. But you need to chill. The man scoffed. Who the hell are you? The janitor police? A few customers snickered. Ray approached cautiously. The man's chest puffed like he was ready to escalate. Daniel didn't back down. Look, he said, steady. She's trying to help. Let her explain, and she'll get you what you need. The man glared, but after a tense moment, he stepped back. Maya exhaled. Her shoulders relaxed. Sir, she said more gently, you can withdraw up to $500 without ID. If you need more, we can help you set an appointment with a manager. The man stared at her, jaw working. Then he muttered a grudging, fine, and accepted the temporary solution. As he walked away, Maya looked up at Daniel. Thank you, she breathed. He shrugged lightly. Just doing my job. You didn't hesitate. You didn't yesterday, he said. Their eyes held for a long moment. Then she smiled, soft, grateful, real. The kind of smile people didn't give to janitors. The kind of smile Daniel hadn't earned with money. Just kindness. Just humanity. It felt good. Too good. That evening, as the sun cast a golden glow through the lobby windows, Maya approached him again as she was leaving. Dan, she said. Yeah? Can I ask you something? Sure. Why are you here? She paused, searching for the words. I mean, you could be anywhere else. You don't talk like most janitors I've met. You don't act like this is your whole life. You feel different. His heart kicked. This was it. The first danger sign. He forced a shrug. Just trying to start over. Did something happen? Yeah, he said quietly. Something happened. She nodded, accepting the half-truth. Well, for what it's worth, she said softly, I'm glad you're here. She walked out of the bank. Daniel stood frozen. She didn't know him. She didn't know his money. She didn't know anything. And she still said she was glad he existed in her world. He wasn't ready for the way that made him feel. Not even close. If you're still watching, you're officially part of the Epic Story family. Hit subscribe so you don't miss what happens when Maya gets closer to discovering Dan's real identity. By the end of the week, everyone at Crestline Bank had subconsciously sorted themselves into invisible categories. There were the ones who never saw the janitor at all. The ones who only saw him when they needed something. And then there was Maya. She saw him. Every single day. Morning, Dan. Don't let Thompson stress you out. Did you eat? Those three simple things did more for Daniel's mental health than any corporate retreat ever had. It started small, little stolen conversations. On Tuesday, she caught him in the break room, refilling a cheap plastic spray bottle from the sink. You drink coffee, she asked, leaning against the doorway with a paper cup in hand. Sometimes, he said. Want one? I can grab you a cup on my break. He hesitated. You don't have to do that. I know. That's why it means something. She said it so simply, like kindness was just normal. Like it didn't cost her anything. Like it wasn't the thing that had just almost cost her job. He exhaled softly. I take it black. Strong man, she teased. All right, black coffee, Dan. Keep mopping. I'll be right back. She kept her promise. He crouched by the baseboard outside her teller window 10 minutes later, pretending to scrub out a scuff mark while she slid a cup of coffee toward the edge of the counter, hidden from camera view by a small plant. What are you doing? He whispered. Hacking the system, she murmured back, keeping her eyes on the next customer. Don't worry. The cameras can't see below chest level here. I checked. He blinked. She'd studied the camera angles, not to steal, but to sneak coffee to the janitor. Ridiculous. Sweet. Dangerous. He took the cup and retreated before he forgot which role he was playing. On Wednesday, he learned she was funny. Not the loud, attention-demanding kind of funny. The quiet, sharp kind that slipped between sentences. She watched a man come in wearing a designer suit and slides, complaining about overdraft fees on an account he hadn't checked in 8 months. I swear banks are just legal scams, he said, waving his phone. You people wake up and choose violence. Maya patiently walked him through his statements, pointing out charge after charge he'd authorized himself. When he finally left, muttering about opening an account somewhere less disrespectful, Daniel drifted near her station, pushing the mop. Rough one, he asked. Maya exhaled. He thinks math is a hate crime. Daniel laughed before he could stop himself. She grinned. I mean, don't get me wrong, sometimes I agree. But still. She glanced at him, expression turning thoughtful. You ever notice how people say the bank did this to me instead of I signed this contract without reading it? People need villains, Daniel said. And banks make great villains, she replied, eyes flicking up to the Crestline logo. He tucked that line away in his mind. Later that night, he'd repeat it to himself in his penthouse office, staring at the Crestline logo on the wall and asking himself if he was the villain in some people's stories. On Thursday, everything almost blew up. Not his cover. Her life. It was quiet in the branch. The lunch hour rush had passed, and the lobby hummed with low conversation and the soft whir of the AC. Daniel was wiping down the glass panels near the entrance when he saw Maya step away from her station and head toward the back hallway, her phone pressed to her ear. He wouldn't have paid attention if it wasn't for the way her shoulders suddenly stiffened. "What do you mean, you got a letter?" she said, voice tight. Daniel's hand slowed on the glass. He couldn't hear the other side of the conversation, but he could see the color drain from her face. "Eviction?" Maya repeated. His chest clenched. "I told them I just needed 2 more weeks," she whispered. "Jordan, I can't. No, do not skip school to go to the office. I'll handle it." Silence. Then. "I said I'll handle it." She ended the call, eyes closed for a second too long, hand trembling around the phone. She didn't cry. She didn't collapse. She just straightened, slipped her phone into her pocket, and went back to her station like nothing happened. But for the rest of the day, her smile didn't reach her eyes. Her laugh sounded forced. And every time she looked at the clock, Daniel noticed. He barely noticed the way Thompson snapped at him later about streaks on the lobby floor. He barely noticed the customers. All he saw was the math. A probationary salary. A sick mother. A teenage brother. LA rent. It didn't add up. By closing time, most of the staff had left. Ray was locking the front doors when he called out, "Dan, lights out in 10. Don't fall asleep in a broom closet." "Got it," Daniel said. He waited until the footsteps faded. Then he walked toward the back hallway leading to the staff exit. Maya was there, sitting on a bench with her bag in her lap, staring at a crumpled piece of paper. The overhead fluorescent made the circles under her eyes darker. "Hey," he said gently. She startled, then relaxed when she saw him. "Oh. Hey, Dan. You okay?" It was becoming their ritual. His standard question. Her standard lie. But tonight, she didn't bother lying. She held up the paper with a humorless smile. "Ever seen one of these?" He took it. "Notice to vacate. Past due rent, 2 months. You have 14 days to vacate the property." His stomach dropped. "Damn," he said softly, the word feeling inadequate. "Yeah. That about sums it up." She leaned back against the wall, staring at the ceiling. "Our landlord has been patient for about 5 minutes and wants his money now." "What happened?" he asked. "What didn't happen?" she replied. "Medical bills, reduced hours at my old job, mom's insurance fighting every procedure like it's a personal favor, my freelance gigs drying up. You name it, it hit us." "Can't you ask someone for help?" Daniel asked carefully. "Family? Friends?" Maya laughed, but there was no joy in it. "Friends are barely surviving. My dad bailed a long time ago. We are the emergency contact and the backup plan and the safety net, for ourselves." He didn't know what to say. He'd written checks bigger than her entire debt amount without blinking. He'd moved millions with a signature, billions with a decision. And now, listening to her talk about eviction, he felt more powerless than he had in any boardroom. "How much do you need?" he asked quietly. Her eyes narrowed a little. "Why?" "Just asking." "Rent plus late fees and keeping the lights on?" She exhaled. "About $3,800. Which is hilarious, because you know what my take-home is after taxes? I looked at it today when I was trying not to cry in the break room." She shook her head. "It's fine. I'll figure something out." "You always say that," he said. "Because I always have to." Silence stretched between them. Then she glanced at him. "What about you?" "What about me?" "You said you're starting over," she said. "What did you do before this?" "Before cleaning marble for entitled people." He smiled faintly. "I worked in finance." The irony tasted bitter on his tongue. Her head snapped toward him. "Finance? Yeah. Her expression changed. Not anger, exactly. But something wary settled into her features. What kind of finance? She asked. Investments. Banking. Deals, he said, all technically true. Oh. She looked away, jaw tightening. So you were on the other side. He frowned. What do you mean? She toyed with her bag strap. The side that approves or denies loans. That juggles interest rates and fees and late charges on a screen while people like my mom are on the other end of the phone begging for flexibility. That's not every banker, he said quietly. I know. She shrugged. But it was ours. She stared ahead, eyes distant. We almost lost everything 3 years ago because some guy in a suit decided our risk profile was too high. Mom's credit took a hit after my dad left. She fell behind, they closed lines, raised interest, made payment plans impossible. By the time someone with a conscience looked at our case, we were already drowning. Daniel felt a slow, cold guilt creep under his skin. I'm sorry, he said. It's not your fault, she replied. You're a janitor now, right? She gave him a sideways look, lips twisting. Congratulations. You've switched to the moral high ground. He chuckled weakly. I don't think it works like that. She studied him like she could see through the joke to the truth. Then she said the sentence that cut him open. I'd never date someone like that anyway, she murmured. Like what? He asked, careful. Some Wall Street type, she said. Some guy who checks spreadsheets for a living and sees people as numbers, not faces. Some billionaire who thinks writing a check fixes the same mess his system created. Daniel's throat went dry. Billionaires, she continued, voice calm but sharp, don't fall from the sky. They're built on people like my mom working double shifts, and people like my brother giving up stuff they shouldn't have to. I don't hate all rich people. I just don't trust them. Especially the ones who act like saviors. She looked at him then. Really looked. Honestly, she said. I'd rather be broke with someone who understands what it means to struggle than rich with someone who doesn't know how to talk to a janitor without sounding like he owns you. He swallowed. I see, he said quietly. Sorry. She winced. That was a lot. It's okay, he said. I asked. You did. She smiled sadly. Anyway. I'm going to go home and figure out if I sell my laptop or my sanity first. Maya. Good night, Dan, she said gently, cutting him off. She walked away. He watched her push open the staff door and disappear down the stairs. His heart was pounding like he'd just run a marathon. I'd never date someone like that. Some Wall Street type. Some billionaire. His reflection stared back at him from the glass wall, expensive watch hidden under cheap fabric, powerful brain burning beneath a janitor's cap. He was exactly the kind of man she had just sworn off. And she had just become exactly the kind of woman he was falling for. That night, Daniel didn't sleep much. He lay on his ridiculously comfortable bed, staring at the ceiling. His mind ran in circles. He could pay her rent right now. Cover her debts. Move her and her family into a better apartment with a single phone call. He'd done it before for strangers in PR moments that made headlines and boosted Crestline's compassionate brand image. This time, he couldn't. Because this time, the one person he wanted to help didn't want a savior with a black card. She wanted someone who understood. He did. He really did. But if he showed her how much he understood, he'd have to show her who he really was. And then everything would change. He turned on his side and grabbed his phone. A message from Jordan, CFO, not Maya's brother, sat unread. Jordan, board wants you at the next shareholder call in full CEO mode, not smelling like bleach. He typed back. Daniel, I'm busy. Jordan, doing what? falling in love with someone who thinks billionaires are the devil? Daniel, maybe. Jordan, then you've picked the right challenge. He locked his phone, heart pounding for reasons that had nothing to do with money. The next day, Thompson was watching him. Daniel felt it. Every time he crossed the lobby. Every time Maya said more than 2 words to him. Every time they existed in the same 10-foot radius. Thompson's eyes narrowed, calculating. During lunch, Daniel walked into the supply closet to restock paper towels and found Thompson already there, arms folded, blocking the doorway. Dan, right? Thompson asked. Yes, sir. I've been getting some new feedback, Thompson said. About you. About me? Daniel repeated, keeping his posture small. Customers have apparently seen you in conversations, Thompson said. Staff too. I just answer when people talk to me, Daniel said. That's the problem, Thompson replied. You're not hired to socialize. You're here to clean. The more comfortable you get, the more lines get blurry. He stepped closer. I run a tight branch, Thompson continued. Last thing I need is some custodian thinking he's everybody's therapist or hero. Stay in your lane. Are we clear? Crystal, Daniel said evenly. And one more thing, Thompson added. Stay away from Ms. Ellis. She already has a tendency to involve herself where she shouldn't. The last thing I need is a soap opera between my staff and the janitorial service. Something in Daniel's chest turned to ice. It's not like that, he said. I don't care what it's like, Thompson snapped. Perception is everything in this city. If she's distracted, she'll make mistakes. If you're a distraction, you're replaceable. Simple. He moved past Daniel and left the closet smelling of cheap cologne and arrogance. Daniel exhaled slowly. Replaceable. He hadn't heard that word applied to himself in years. In boardrooms, he was irreplaceable. On magazine covers, he was the visionary. To investors, he was the golden boy. Here, he was just the janitor who talked too much. And weirdly, he liked that. What he didn't like was someone acting like Maya's attention was a liability. That afternoon, he tried to create distance. When Maya greeted him, he just nodded. When she offered him coffee, he told her he'd already had some. When she joked about the math crimes in her line that day, he smiled but didn't stop to engage. By closing time, her easy warmth had been replaced by something cooler. Not rude. Just cautious. As she packed up her bag, she walked past him near the entrance. So, we're doing the thing now, she asked. What thing, he asked. The thing where you pretend I don't exist, she said lightly, but her eyes searched his face like she was trying to read a language she didn't fully understand. I've just been busy, he said. With what? Extra glamorous bleach fumes, she tried to joke. He didn't answer fast enough. Her smile faded. Did I do something? She asked quietly. No, he said quickly. Then why are you acting like I bite? She said. If it's about the eviction stuff, relax. I wasn't asking for money. I was just talking to someone who seemed human. That's not it, he said. Then what is it? She pushed, frustration peeking through. You don't owe me emotional intimacy, Dan, but if you're going to suddenly switch up, at least let me know why. He opened his mouth, then closed it. He couldn't tell her Thompson's warning. He couldn't tell her the truth behind it. He couldn't tell her his real name, job, or intentions. And for the first time since this whole game started, he hated the cage he'd built around himself. I just don't want to cause problems for you, he said finally. You're not, she replied. Thompson seems to think otherwise. She rolled her eyes. Thompson thinks sugar-free mints are a personality. Who cares? I care, Daniel said. Because he can mess with your job. Maya looked at him, really looked, and something in her expression softened. "You're worried about me," she said slowly. "Yeah," he said. "Then stop avoiding me," she replied. "You're the only part of this job that doesn't feel like a soul-sucking machine." The honesty in her voice shook him more than any shareholder complaint ever had. She sighed. "But if talking to me is going to get you fired, then I guess we both have to figure out how to survive without friends at work." She turned away. "Maya," he said. She stopped but didn't turn. "You're not alone," he said softly. "Even if it feels like it sometimes." She stood there for a long beat. Then she nodded once and walked out. He watched her disappear into the LA evening again. He felt stuck between two lives. In one, he was the powerful man who could fix everything. In the other, he was the powerless man who might be the only person giving her emotional oxygen. And if he wasn't careful, he was going to lose both. Friday mornings at Crestline Bank usually carried the frantic, caffeinated chaos of Los Angeles rushing to get life together before the weekend. Today was different. There was a strange heaviness in the air. A tension Daniel could feel the moment he walked in with the janitor cart. Maya wasn't at her station. Again. Her chair was empty, headset untouched, login screen still waiting. Carla rolled her eyes when Daniel passed by. "She'll show up." "Maybe." Ray shrugged. "People don't last long on probation. I give her until Monday." Daniel hated that. The casual way people dismissed her. Like she wasn't the strongest person in the room. He started sweeping the lobby, pretending not to listen, but listening to everything. 5 minutes later, he heard the staff entrance click. Maya walked in. But she wasn't walking the same way. She was moving too fast, like she'd run, like she was late, like she'd been crying in the car and was trying to hide it. Her hair was pulled into a rushed bun, not her usual neat puff. Her blouse was wrinkled. Her eyes were swollen. She passed near Daniel on her way to her station. "Morning," he said softly. She stopped. Turned her head slightly toward him, not fully, just enough that he saw the tear line she'd wiped away. "Morning," she whispered. But there was no warmth in it today. Just tiredness. Defeat. She logged in and forced her voice into its customer service rhythm. "Hi, welcome to Crestline. How can I help you today?" But her hands were shaking. Daniel's grip tightened on the mop. Something was wrong. Really wrong. Mid-morning, everything unraveled. Maya was helping a customer deposit a check when her phone vibrated in her pocket. She ignored it. It vibrated again. And again. She excused herself, stepped away from the window, and answered quickly, voice low. Daniel was across the lobby, wiping down a railing, but the bank's acoustics were good, and the fear in her voice carried. "What?" "Slow down, Jordan, what happened?" Daniel froze. He kept wiping, pretending not to hear. No, they can't do that, we have time, Jordan, listen to me." Her voice cracked. Customers turned. Carla looked irritated. Ray glanced over warily. Maya pressed a hand to her forehead. "We're being evicted today? They changed the date? They can't just." Silence on the other end. Her eyes filled. Then she whispered. "Jordan, where are you now?" The answer shattered her. "Outside? All our stuff is outside?" She shut her eyes so tight Daniel felt the pain in his own chest. "Stay there," she whispered, voice breaking. "Don't go anywhere. Don't talk to anyone. I'm coming." She hung up and rushed toward the staff hallway. "Maya." Carla called. "Where are you going?" "You're in the middle of your shift." "I need to leave," Maya said, grabbing her bag with trembling hands. "That's not how this works," Carla snapped. "You walk out now and that's automatic termination." You know this. Maya paused. Her breath hitched. For a moment, she looked like a woman drowning who'd just been handed a brick. My brother is on the street, Maya said quietly. With everything we own. I don't have a choice. Yes, you do, Carla replied coldly. Your choice is to stay. This is your job. This is my family, Maya said, voice shaking. I can get another job. I can't get another family. She turned. Carla's voice followed her, sharp and cruel. Then don't bother coming back. Maya stopped only to whisper, I wasn't planning to. And she walked out. For good. Stone-faced. Jaw trembling. Heartbreaking in real time. Daniel dropped the mop. He didn't think. He acted. He grabbed his backpack from the janitor cart, slipped out the side exit, and sprinted into the alley. By the time he reached his car, a plain black sedan he'd purposely chosen so he wouldn't stand out, the adrenaline in his veins felt like fire. He wasn't Dan anymore. He was Daniel Carter. And he was going after her. He pulled out into LA traffic, heart pounding, only one thought in his head. She's alone. She shouldn't be alone. He spotted her car 2 blocks ahead, a battered Honda struggling to merge into traffic. He followed. She didn't notice. Her shoulders were tight. Her hands clenched around the wheel. He could see her mouth moving, talking to herself, praying, begging the universe to give her a break. He followed her through South LA, past murals and corner stores and half-renovated buildings until she stopped in front of a rundown apartment complex. Her world. Her reality. Her nightmare. Daniel parked across the street and got out. Maya stood frozen on the sidewalk. Everything in front of her was chaos. Clothes in trash bags. Old cardboard boxes. A lamp with a broken shade. A cheap coffee table leaning against a telephone pole. Her mother's recliner, outside, with a yellow eviction notice stuck to it like a bullying badge. And her little brother, Jordan, stood guard next to the pile with a backpack slung over his shoulder, jaw tight, eyes red. Mom's inside with the paramedics, he said quietly. She fainted when they started moving stuff. Maya's whole body shook. Jordan, oh my God. She pulled him into a hug, holding him like she was trying to keep him from falling apart, or herself. Daniel felt something inside him snap. He walked forward. Slowly. Carefully. Like approaching a wounded animal. Maya, he said softly. Her head whipped around. Shock flashed across her face. Followed by confusion. Embarrassment. And then something worse. Shame. What are you doing here? She whispered. He stepped closer. You left upset. I wanted to make sure you were okay. I'm fine, she lied. You're not, he said gently. A paramedic came out of the building with her mother on a stretcher. Maya rushed to her. Daniel stayed a few steps back, not wanting to intrude, but unwilling to walk away. Blood pressure spiked, the paramedic said. Stress-related. She'll need monitoring. Can she come home? Maya asked, panic in her voice. The paramedic looked at the eviction notice taped to the building's door. Home, he repeated softly. I'm not sure she has one right now. Maya covered her mouth with her hand. Her mother reached up weakly. Baby, don't cry. I'm not, Maya choked. You always say that, her mother whispered. When the ambulance pulled away with her mother inside, Maya stepped back from the street and sank down onto the curb. Jordan put an arm around her. She leaned into him. And then. She cried. Not quietly. Not politely. But like someone whose whole life had finally fallen apart. Daniel sat beside her. Not touching her. Not crowding her. Just there. After several minutes, she wiped her eyes with a shaky hand. I'm sorry you had to see this, she whispered. I'm not, he said. She looked at him, eyes raw and wounded. Why would you come? Why would you even care? He inhaled. Then said the truth, the only truth he could say. Because you matter to me. Her breath hitched. Dan, she whispered, shaking her head, please don't say things like that right now. I can't handle anything else. I'm not saying it to burden you, he said softly. I'm saying it so you know you're not facing this alone. She stared at him, searching his face for lies he didn't allow to show. You're just a janitor, she whispered. He didn't flinch. And you're just a teller trainee, he replied. Her lips quivered. For a moment, it felt like the world had gone still. I don't know what to do, she admitted softly. It was the first time she had said those words out loud. I do, Daniel said. She looked at him desperately. What? He took a breath, one that felt heavier than anything he'd ever carried. Let me help you. She froze. Her eyes hardened. No, she said instantly. Maya. No, she repeated, standing up sharply. You don't get to play savior. Not today. Not with me. I'm not trying to. Yes, you are, she snapped, anger finally spilling past the exhaustion. You pity me. That's the worst part. You feel sorry for me. And I can't take charity from someone I barely know. You know me, he said quietly. Do I? She asked, stepping closer. What do I really know about you, Dan? You talk like someone who's lived two different lives. You carry yourself like someone who's seen the world from higher up. And you show up places like someone who has power. He stiffened. She shook her head. I don't understand you. He swallowed. Then let me explain. No, she whispered. Not today. Not like this. She backed away from him like she was backing away from a cliff edge. Jordan came to her side, watching Daniel with a wary teenage suspicion. I need to figure things out, Maya said, voice trembling. Alone. Maya. Please, she whispered. Don't follow me. Then she turned and walked toward the bus stop with her brother, leaving her life and Daniel waiting on the curb. Daniel stood there, fists clenched. Chest tight. Heart pounding with a realization he could no longer deny. He was running out of time. He couldn't stay undercover much longer. Not when her whole world was collapsing. Not when she needed someone, and he was the only one who could actually help. But telling her the truth now? He could lose her forever. If you watch to the end, wow. What do you think happens next when Maya finds out who Dan really is? Drop your prediction in the comments, and hit subscribe so you don't miss the twist.